All right, let's do your unseal free B. I'm going to start out with the double pencil tool because you all have pencils in your home and you have rubber bands. It's simply two pencils rubber banded together, and it's a great way to start calligraphy because it gets you in the habit of moving your whole arm. Plus, because it's large enough to see, you can really begin to understand the skeleton, if you will, of the letter. The letter B, this is our header, this is our baseline. The letter B does not have any ascenders or descenders, and the first stroke is straight down. You remember, we're holding our pen, quote unquote, at about a number 4 angle, right? A little bit flatter than many of the other alphabets. So the first stroke is straight down. Now, the letter B is one of those letters that has a little bit of a serif at the top. And a serif is, well, let me illustrate. A letter T in many traditional fonts, these things right here are called the serifs. Got it? Okay. There's a little bit of a serif in the letter B, and the way I do that is I first of all do the downstroke, then come back to the top and move my pen over about 1/3 of the width of my pen. Does that make sense? 1/3. Let me magnify that for you right here. In other words, if my pen is 1 inch wide and I'm holding it at a number 4 angle, then I divide this inch into thirds, visually, mentally divide it into thirds, and I'm going to move my pen over about 1/3. That takes it to there, and then we simply draw a curve down that way. Does that make sense? So there it is, magnified greatly. Now I come up here, I move it over just a little bit, and that would be one of my warnings, if you will, about the unsealed typeface, is if you make this serif too big, your unsealed typeface just it doesn't look good. It looks clunky, looks not graceful, in my opinion. So make sure you don't go more than 1/3. Don't think, well, if 1/3 is good, then half is better. Not wrong. Just keep it very subtle. Now, the next stroke in your letter B, you can usually do in one move, or that is to say, without picking up your pen. You start about 1/4 of the way down from the top, go up at a number 4 angle to the top, header, down in a curve, all the way to the original stroke, and then back out again a little bit further and down to the baseline. Now, as you can see, my B is not finished yet. I think the best way to do a B is, rather than try to come back up here, is to stop right there, then pick up your pen, come to the bottom of your first stroke, and come back to your right. Does that make sense? Let me do that letter one more time with pencil. One stroke, all the way down, 1/3 of the width over, no more, and a little triangle, up to the header, down just above or right at halfway between the baseline and the header, and then a larger curve down to the baseline and stop. Pick up your pen, come back here to the bottom of the first stroke, and draw over here and meet those two lines. Get it? I think that's a nice B. Let's move now to a felt tip marker, and I have here my guide sheet. I have a piece of graphics paper on top of my guide sheet, and I think you can see that. Now let's try a B right here. Downstroke, 1/3 over, starting about there, up to the header, curve all the way back to the first stroke, and then another stroke down to the baseline, stop, pick up my pen, and finish it this way. One more time with a felt tip marker. Straight down, lift up, 1/3 over, and curve in. See, I like the subtlety of that serif. I don't like the serif to get any bigger than that. As you develop your own hand, you can make your decisions about those things, but I like it a rather subtle serif. First curve, smaller, straight back, and then second curve, larger, down to the baseline, pick it up, and connect it there. That's a nice B. Now let's go to my dip pen. And I am, in fact, going to dip my pen because it's faster than picking up a brush. Now, I'm going to use the same guidelines. You'll notice right away that this is a wider nib than the first one. So the result is the typeface or the font looks bolder than the felt tip marker did. The nice thing about felt tip markers, you could stick it in your pocket and take it anywhere. Then the nice thing about what I will call a real pen, like this dip nib, is that the fine lines in the letter are finer than you can get with a felt tip pen. You see that? Curve 1, curve 2, down to the baseline, stop, and finish going this way. There you go. You'll be knocking out bees in no time. That's your free bee. Thanks for watching.